And I felt that me being on house arrest, the universe was telling me that I needed to ground myself. I needed to learn patience. I needed to learn myself, and I needed to understand how the law of attraction and the law of manifestation works.
Hi, welcome to episode 1 of Never Make a U Turn. Today we have Jared Hall, who has actually been a fashion novelist and he has followed what his heart has actually told after the age of 30. Why did he choose to switch a direction to what he was never known to before? He never studied fashion, but today he's a lead brand in fashion and he has made appearances at Tiffany Fashion Week and Dubai Fashion Week, and he has a showroom in Dubai Fashion Mall. Let's hear his inspiring journey and try to understand how did he come to where he is today.
Hi, Jared. Welcome to the show. And I'm very happy and we are very grateful to have you on the show. And I'm aware that Omaha is having a lot of storms. So thank you for making to the show in the storm conditions. So let's dig in about you, your journey, because you have come so far from being a very from being no one to someone who people know as a fashion designer. So tell us about your journey. How have you reached from where you were called nothing and now you're known to people? You go to like fashion shows with Tiffany. You have done one fashion show recently in Dubai. So what's your take on it and how has your journey been?
So the journey has been well. It's been very enlightening. It's been very insightful. I've learned a lot. I connected with many people, and I continue. I will continue to further my presence in the fashion industry, not only in America but also amongst the world. The journey has been quite the journey. Uh, Being born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska, you know, people don't look towards the Midwest or Omaha, Nebraska as fashion forward individuals as far as the fashion industry is concerned, in my opinion. And I can say that the journey hasn't been something. This is not something that I dreamed of when I was a kid. Um, some of the things that I've done within the fashion industry now, yes, I have wanted to be in magazines and things like that, because when you was a kid, you didn't have the Instagrams and Facebooks and stuff like that. You would go to your local shopping market or grocery store, and you may see a Vogue magazine or a Jets magazine or Ebony magazine. And I was like, man, I see people that look like me, and I see other people that don't look like me. I just see beautiful human beings, and I think I, you know, look good enough to be in one of those magazines. And so, that part was a dream. But as far as having a fashion brand and owning a fashion company and being a founder of it, I can't say that was a dream. Uh, but it's been quite the journey. It's been a short journey so far, as I've been, 3 a.m. luxury has existed now for basically 3 years, and so being able to scale up very quickly is a very very beautiful thing, and it keeps me on my toes as to what's next, and to know that uh, I have to remain humble, not humble, but I have to remain solid in the mind of uh, myself and stay solid in the journey, because I can't take things for granted.
How is your childhood different from the life you are living? As you told, like you always dreamt of living the life that you are living right now. So when as a child you didn't have connections from the world of fashion or luxury, how how did you dream of things like these?
Uh, yeah, as a child, you have a big imagination, and you go to school and they tell you that what you want to be when you grow up, and somebody might say the president, and they say, well, you can be the president. Well, I never really, thought about being a firefighter or a cop or a president. I always wanted to be a public figure, in the sense of whether it was speaking, sports, uh, music. Uh, I always felt like I dressed nice, and I always liked my appearance, to keep my appearance up. But like I say, fashion wasn't something that came to my mind as a youth, just because, like I say, Omaha, Nebraska is not a fashion forward place. Like, nobody would ever say, "Hey, I wanna, get some new garments. I'm gonna go to Omaha, Nebraska to go buy my new garments." That's what I mean by Omaha, Nebraska is not fashion forward, in the sense of, we're not known as a fashion powerhouse or, a fashion state. So, but to go back as a child, how my life is different. Uh, wow. I mean, I've been through a lot of things in my life, trials and tribulations. Sports was what I dreamt of. That's what I wanted to be a professional athlete, because I grew up playing, several different sports, and I was very, very talented at each and every sport I played. I never was a guy that was overlooked. I never was a guy that was like not thought about or brought up in conversations. I was very, very, very talented and traveled the country, um, being involved in different sports, whether that was to wrestle, basketball, football, track. I've done multiple things, and have multiple accomplishments in those different fields. But my first love outside of sports became poetry, actually, and poetry turned into music, and music became a passion. And so I did want to become an artist in the music industry, and I've done some things there too. But growing up, I just had this idea of, I felt like I deserved, or I not deserved, but I felt like I should be on the world platform. I have a lot to say. If you give me a microphone, I'm going to intrigue somebody enough to listen to me. And some people may agree with me, some people may disagree with me, but yeah, I dreamt of being on a world stage, but I never imagined it being in the fashion industry. It wasn't until recently, uh, manifestation played a part into, the things that I'm doing now. But we'll get into that.
So, Jared, tell me about you had some interest in the starting where you were an athlete. Then your interest shifted to being a poet because you were inspired by music. Then your interest came into the fashion industry. And I know that you have not studied or you have not graduated in the fashion zone itself. So, how did you come up with this brand 3 a.m. luxury now?
That is a very interesting question. How did I come up with 3 a.m. luxury, and why did I choose the fashion industry? I felt as if, there's a lot of people, including myself, that at times want to be in the music industry, and it's a very saturated market. But when it comes to fashion, and you're talking about America, America makes up 11% of the fashion industry in the world. And when we get to talking about, high end luxury brands, I don't, not to discredit any fashion house from America, but I don't think many people will choose an American brand and put it on the same levels as, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, or Birkin, things like this. And so I started to study the fashion industry, and I was really, really compelled by um, Louis Vuitton and Gucci, because those are two of the oldest fashion brands, in the world. But I studied Louis Vuitton, and I found out, as much as I could about Louis Vuitton himself. You know, um, he was a orphan, who got into the blacksmith trade, and I was his story. Although I wasn't an orphan myself, his story I seen a lot of similarities. But I began to think America should have a high end luxury fashion brand that not can compete. I'm not worried about competing, but that can be in the same conversation as a high end designer brand, like Louis Vuitton or Gucci or these other brands that's amongst the world. So I also had a bag that failed on me that was, said to be a high end designer bag. And I began to think to myself, I've seen people from the same city I'm from, attempt to do fashion, to get into fashion. But not that they failed. I just don't think that they were able to access the right platform to excel in the fashion industry. And so I'm a big thinker. I'm a big believer. I'm a big dreamer. And I never want to do things on a small scale. So when I begin to think about fashion, um, my research led me to global. It led me to researching on a global aspect, not just a local aspect. And so I chose handbags and leather accessories because it's not as volatile as I seen the clothing industry to be. And it wasn't just about bringing high end fashion to the market because it does exist, but it was also about bringing a lifestyle to the fashion industry that I felt didn't exist. And that lifestyle is saying that 3 a.m. is more than just a brand; it's a lifestyle. There's a deep rooted meaning behind 3 a.m. And when I began to, place myself in the fashion industry, it wasn't just about the the quality of the leather. It was about the quality, but it was also about the mindset and the way that I was thinking, and how I know the power of the mind had led me to certain doors and inside certain doors that I know people will probably say, "Wow, how did you do that?" So these are the things that prepared me for the fashion industry. It was, going back to college and understanding, how to research, what to research, things of that nature. And 3 a.m. luxury came about because of I because it's, I found myself reading a lot of self help books, and these self help books kept leading me back to, believing in self, learning about the inner you, manifesting your light, manifesting your destiny. And so that became a lifestyle of 3 a.m. That became a lifestyle of Jared. And I wanted to share this way of thinking and this lifestyle with other people. And I felt I can do that by way of fashion.
When we talk about like self-help books, can you share the journey where you were and where you now? How did they like help you creating yourself and the life you're living?
Yeah. So full transparency, uh, I want to say the year was about 2010. I was in traffic, and I was known to be a speed demon. Um, I had a lot of interactions with the local police department, and I was arrested, and I was taken to Douglas County uh, Correctional Facility, and that was on a Friday, and I appeared in court on Tuesday, and I was going to be sentenced to, if I went to trial, would be sentenced to 0 to 1 year in the Douglas County Correctional Facility um, for a traffic violation. Well, I was then sentenced to much less time, maybe like a week, because I just took a plea. And as I was sitting in my cell, I was told that I had an interview. I didn't know what the interview was about. And when I come out of the cell to go to the interview, the guy told me he knew my father, and uh, that I didn't belong in jail. And so he was gonna he made it possible for me to do house arrest instead of sitting in jail. But I would have to do house arrest for longer than a week. And so I was like, well, yeah, I don't want to be in jail, so I took house arrest. Well, prior to 2011, I want to say 2009, I had told somebody very close to me that I needed to occupy my mind. I needed a book to read. Well, I ended up, uh, she ended up getting a book for me, and I at that time I had never picked the book up because my mind just wasn't prepared yet. Well, when I was doing, you know, when I was spending time on house arrest, I I finally picked that book up 2 years later, and the book happened to be Law of Attraction: Attracting Happiness, Health, and Wealth by Abraham Hicks. And what spoke to me was the very first the first couple of pages said, "There's nothing in this book that you don't already know. We're just going to teach you how to reapply it to your life now." And the next thing that really stuck out to me was it said to tell a different story. A lot of times we get stuck in telling a story about the trials and the tribulations and the negativity that we face and the adversity we face, but we don't tell the story of where we're going, where we're headed. And so I read that book over the time of me being on house arrest. My very first recognition of the law of attraction and manifestation working was, uh, I would tell people that I have family from California. My father's from California, and these things, but I had never been to California. I never met that side of family at this point. I was like, man, this is crazy. Of course I want to go to California. And during that time of me being on house arrest, I would speak about going to California. I'm gonna go to California when I get off house arrest. I'm gonna do this because the book was telling me that I had to speak the things that I wanted to be reality. I had to speak it into existence. And so that's the very first time I've ever seen the law of attraction and manifestation ever working for myself. And from there, uh, I went to California. I met my dad's side of the family for the first time. Uh, I got involved with music, things like this. So to fast forward to being in the fashion industry now, it was going through some of those rough patches in my life that had to sharpen my mind to prepare me for the things that I'm doing now, to prepare me for even having a conversation with somebody like yourself.
Jared, when you were in the house arrest, was it not the plan of the universe to put you inside this? This is what I am thinking, so that you can know the power of your mind and you can change the direction of your life. I mean, this came as a blessing to you, right?
Yes, I believe so. I would have to 100% agree with that. I feel like the universe, somebody, a seven-time Grammy Award winner by the name of Reggie Calloway, he told me I had the pleasure of having dinner with him, just him and myself, and he told me the universe doesn't show you anything it doesn't want you to have, I'm a firm believer that what he said is 100% true, and I felt that me being on house arrest, the universe was telling me that I needed to ground myself, I needed to learn patience, I needed to learn myself, you know, internally, and I needed to understand how the law of attraction and the law of manifestation works. Because we dream of things, we say we want things, but you know, what our heart desire, our mind, and when we're not yet prepared, we can't train our mind to think, you know, uh, about what our heart desires, and then so when it come out of our mouth, we don't actually say exactly what it is we want. we dibble and dabble and stumble over what we want. But once you understand how to, align yourself and with what you feel, what your heart desire, and you begin to implement this in your mind and then speak it into existence, that's when the power of the law of attraction work and manifestation work. And so I definitely agree that the universe was telling me I needed to sit down and you know sharpen my mind.
I mean, that's great. And that's why when you talk about like 3 a.m., there is a 3 a.m. brand, right? So there's a significance of 3 a.m. in your life. Would you talk about that?
Yeah. So 3 a.m. is very, very, very significant in my life. A lot of people think it has to do with the time, which I think any great marketer or any great business individual will play on certain things. So I chose 3 a.m. to as far as the time to play on that, but the three actually represents your third eye, your pineal gland, which means to be a free thinker and a creator. The A represents the angle and or angles in which you see your reality from. And then the M is comprised of two pyramids. The first pyramid represents mental elevation, and the second pyramid represents manifestation. Both pyramids have arrows up top, which means to ascend. And when you tie it all together, what that means is to believe in yourself, trust your vision, challenge the best version of you to inspire growth and manifest the life you so ever desire. And that's what I mean by 3 a.m. luxury is more than just a brand, it is a lifestyle.
Okay, going back to like the phases of the self doubt, like, when you were in the phase where your heart was telling, okay, go towards the industry of fashion, and there were moments of self doubt, how did you overpower your mind and chose that direction? Okay, I know this is right.
You know, to be completely transparent, when the thought of when the thought of being in the fashion industry came about, let me say this. When it came about that I'm gonna do handbags and leather accessories, it wasn't a doubt in my mind. Uh, I so in 2021, me and a friend of mine, Sam, we went to um, Miami for our birthday. My birthday is February 23rd, and his birthday is February 28th. And so we decided to do a trip together with our partners. And down when I was in Miami, that's when I said I'm gonna do handbags and leather accessories. And I think it was the people around me. Some people that was like, I don't know, that's gonna be the fashion industry gonna be tough. It's gonna be this, it's gonna be this. But I never had a doubt in my mind because, and then there's some people that would tell you like, if he say if he say he gonna do something, like he's gonna do it. It's not a question about if or how far he'll go. Uh, I've always been told that you have a lot of potential. You just have to choose what it is you want to do and then stick to that. And once you get done with that, go to the next venture. So, um, February 2021, I decided I'm gonna do handbag brand. Well, I returned back to Omaha in March. My studying became very intense. Although I was, working a full time job, uh, and I was going to the gym, working out maybe 5 to 6 times a week, and spending, 2 3 hours in the gym. I would be looking things up online. I would be studying Louis Vuitton. I would find out about Louis Vuitton merger in 1989 when they merged with uh, Moet Hennessy when it became LVMH. I looked at, you know, Gucci and how Gucci started. The Gucciano Gucci was a bellhop boy who carried the the rich luggage. And I mean, this is how this man started. The Gucci brand. But even Birkin, I studied how the Birkin bag became the Birkin bag. It was and Anne Birkin getting on the plane and having a basket where she kept all of her items. That when she put it in the overhead bin, it fell out of the overhead bin, and she said, "I wish I just had a bag that I can fit all my stuff in." And she didn't, unbeknown to her, is the owner of Hermes, and he created the Birkin bag, and that's why the Birkin bag is a Birkin bag. And so these are the things that I was studying while I was in Miami. When I came back from Miami, and I began to look at manufacturers. I wanted to know, where did Louis Vuitton start? Where did this brand start? Where did they start? How did they start? And I found some of the manufacturers and where these brands started. I being in America, I didn't really know the time zone, and not knowing the time zone, um, I didn't really understand um, when I would reach out to these manufacturers. I didn't hear back right away, and it led me to call, and then I got an email back, and it was like 3, 4, or 5 in the morning. I'm like, oh, I looked at the time zone. I said, in my time, it's 3, 4, or 5 in the morning, but in their time, it's like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So I'm like, this is not gonna work. But however, it was April of 2021 when the 3 a.m. luxury finally came into reality. And by June of 2021, I had launched 3 a.m. luxury. So when I chose to get into the fashion industry at that particular point, it wasn't a doubt in my mind what I was capable of and what I wanted to do and what I was going to do.
So when you were like starting things and you were planning things, there would be a lot of challenges like financial, like team support, like designs. How did you get together with everything? Because it's not easy to leave a full-time job first of all. That's a very tough decision. Right. So from that decision to like finding things and collecting people, connecting with people, how did that process go?
Um, even then, I promise you, and I'm not exaggerating. Even then, I did not find it tough to communicate with people. I really believe that the universe put me in a place where I was supposed to be at that particular time, and everything seemed to come very, very easy and natural. Um, a friend of mine, you know, but I will say this: I reached out to people who were, you know, that had brands, and I even will offer these people money just to sit down and pick their brain and try to fit and try to, say, hey, I'm not trying to compete with you. I'm trying to do something, and I'm looking for information. And so, doors was closing my face, but I never seen it as a challenge. I just seen it as, okay, the universe telling me you're going in a direction that I don't want you to go in. This is all about learning you, understanding you, and letting your light, manifest in the world. So with that being said, I when it came to designs, I knew that I like to travel, and the bag that fell on me was a duffel bag, and so I knew that right away. I wanted my own duffel bag. So that wasn't a question. I also began to look at the what was trending, what styles were now becoming uh popular, crossbody bags. So I looked at what already existed in the world, and I didn't have to change it. I just had to implement my style. I met a guy that I have to mention his name, Joe. Uh, when I finally found a manufacturer that I wanted to work with in the United States of America, me and this guy, I mean, we connected automatically. It was almost as if we grew up together, and um, we sat and talked about a lot of different things, and a lot of different things. You know, I was like, no, I don't want you to have any input in what I'm doing. I want to do everything on my own. They already have designs. This is all my sketches, and he was like, you know, I want it. I really like you, and I want you to grow. And in my experience, this is the best way to grow. And I listened to him, and it was very, very important that I did listen to him because he had information and he was willing to share the information with me without me begging him to share the information with me. Well, Joe actually passed away on the second round of uh, 3 a.m. luxury, the products being created. I now I wanted to introduce different colors, varieties of colors. I would call Joe, and he would always pick the phone up, and he would call me back immediately. Well, this time he didn't call back, and he didn't pick the phone up, and his then girlfriend called me, and I never spoke to her. When I heard her voice, I'm like, before I heard her voice, the first thing I say is, "Man, what did you do? Fall off the face of the earth?" And I hear a woman's voice, and I'm like, "Where is Joe?" And she say, "I'm sorry, but Joe passed away." That was probably the scariest moment for me so far in the fashion industry because this was a guy I started with. This was a guy that, helped me along the way and supported me and led me in the right direction. And for that, I'm forever grateful and forever thankful. And so I cannot talk about 3 a.m. luxury without mentioning his name, although he was the owner of the manufacturer that I partnered with. I have to mention his name, and that was a scary time for me because I did not know what was going to happen from there. I did not know, um, if I would find another person, another manufacturer that was, where we had so much in common that it was like we was brothers. So um, that's probably the biggest challenge and the scariest challenge I faced. However, Joe, I've become real close with his sister. Um, I became close with his parents, and you know we are able to further um, production. So I think that's probably the biggest challenge that I ever faced. But connecting with people has never been difficult for me. I love communication. I think communication is the single most important tool that we do have, and it's a very rich tool when you understand how to use it.
I'm so sorry to hear about Joe, but I'm really happy that you came out with a good mindset that everything happens for a reason and you have to continue what you started. So that's very commendable. So kudos to you.
Yes.
So Jared, tell me about like, when you meet people now, those who have known you earlier, what do they say about you when they see you grow and when you see you achieve your dreams that you are right now?
A lot of people say they're proud of me. A lot of people say they knew that I was special. That me, myself, and my twin brother Duran. They say that they seen the potential, and they always felt that them guys are no nonsense in the way that if they do, if they want to do good, they gonna do extremely well. If they want to do bad, they gonna do extremely well. And so, and people that don't know me tell me that what I'm doing is inspiring, is motivation. It's also motivating them. They 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 say a lot of good things. There's the position that I'm in currently. There's not any other individual that's in this position. Within the state of Nebraska, the city of Omaha, but also when you get to talking about United States of America, we do have very 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 well established brands like Coach. But as far as an emerging designer, I don't think there's anybody in the United States right now that has touched the platforms that I've touched and have reached the people that I have reached. So a lot of people say that I'm my story is inspiring, and I appreciate that.
And when you like spend your me time, How do you spend your me time, and how do you take this like success into you?
Um, I try to spend time with family. That's important to me. But as far as my me time, I enjoy the gym. I enjoy, like I say, I can talk on the phone for hours. I can talk in person for hours. I think I really, really, truly, truly love communicating with people. But I still read books. One of the books that I'm reading now is a book called Balance, and that book is about balancing our life, you know, internally and externally. So I still go to the gym, although I went through an injury, and um, I'm finally feeling motivated to be back in the gym. But that's how I spend my time. I do enjoy traveling, um, but mainly I spend my free time reading books, working out, spending time with family, and I try to find different events that I can associate myself with as far as being a speaker, a keynote speaker.
I mean, that's great. And when you talk about like you being growing, what does growing mean to you? Is it like growing in the materialistic world, growing in your mind, or is it like both of them?
It's in my mind. My older brother tell me all the time. I say, man, I'm like, man, I need this much money so I can do this and this and this. And a lot of what I want to do is helping other people, not just so much for myself. But he say, man, you the richest person I know. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no, I ain't. No, I'm not. And he say, I ain't talking about materialistic. You the richest person I know because you rich in spirit, you rich in um, value, you rich in all these other things that had nothing to do with money. He say, just look at the stuff you're doing, look at where you've been, look at the people that you're reaching. He tell me his some people he know say, man, I seen your brother, man. Man, that's crazy. What he doing is so inspiring. So mentally, I want to continue to grow mentally because I believe we forever as humans will be teachers and students, and it doesn't matter what your age is. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be a 24-year-old person who just graduated college to be a teacher, and you don't have to be somebody who's still in school to be a student. I believe the day we born we become teachers and we become students, and so I forever want to grow, educationally and mentally, and of course I want to grow financially.
Of course. Okay. So thank you, Jared, for everything that you have shared with us today. And your journey is really inspiring. Especially, it's not easy for a person to leave their job and to transition to something that they've always dreamed of. So that takes a lot of courage and determination to go on to pursue what you really want, right? So, what's the message that you want to give to everyone, especially to the youth who are looking forward to something they want to do, but they don't get the courage to reach to where they want to be at?
So my message to the youth is 3 a.m. luxury, and what the reason I say that is because it is a lifestyle, not just a brand. Or I should say, it's more than a brand; it's a lifestyle. And when I say, think 3 a.m. luxury, think, I just want to spark a thought in the mind of people across the planet. And that thought is to believe in self, to trust your vision, challenge the best version of you to inspire growth, to manifest the life you so ever desire. Never second guess yourself. Never doubt yourself. It doesn't matter if you have education in the field or not. We have we are the richest in history right now when it comes to access. So don't be afraid to put yourself, out there. Use the platforms of Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and Twitter and emails and platforms like yours. Utilize these things, and you never know how your story is gonna impact somebody else. So just have that faith in yourself, have that belief in yourself, that trust in yourself, and just know that whatever path you are on right now, if that's not the path that you want to be on, The beautiful thing about life is there's a million different paths we can walk on. So don't get stuck on, you know, one path. Don't become fixated on just one path. And they say don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's a very true statement. And some people say, I don't have a plan B. I don't believe in having a plan for this, a plan for that, a plan for that. I believe in just doing, because you got doers in the world and you got doers in the world, you got people who don't do. Don't be a person who take your talent and your ideas and your dreams to the cemetery with you. You know, believe in yourself, trust your vision, talent the best version of you to inspire growth and manifest the life you serve and desire. Because a person like me from the middle of the United States of America, Omaha, Nebraska, from the inner city, uh, if we can go back in time, people probably tell you my life will be different. But I don't let people determine my life. I determine my life. I'm the author of this story. I'm writing the book, and I'm also writing the script to the movie. And I'm in control of that because I'm in tune with the universe. I'm in tune with the Most High to understand that I'm a vessel, and my purpose is to be a beacon of hope for those who are coming behind me, those who came before me, and those who are here with me now. So my message is 3 a.m. luxury.
Wow, that was beautiful. Thank you so much for this wonderful message, and I hope everybody who will listen to you will attune to your frequency, and they will have that strength and determination to go far to where they want to go. So thank you, Jared. Thank you so much, and it's a privilege to have you on the show. And
Thank you,
I think, yeah, thank you for everything.
thank you. And if it's okay, you guys can find me on Instagram at Jared Hall or JRed402. You can also find me on all the different social media platforms at 3 a.m. Luxury. And the website is 3amluxury.com. And you can also, if you are in Dubai, you can go to the Dubai Design District, Building 5A, Showroom 102, and you can purchase product, 3 a.m. luxury product in Dubai. In Omaha, Nebraska, you can go to Status, which is in Exarban Village at 1619, right next to HDR. And also connect with me on any of the social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever it is. I do enjoy communicating with people, and I will return any message that's sent to me. And anybody who follows me, I will follow back.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and please go watch 3 a.m. Jared has really special things waiting for you. So 3M Luxury, keep growing and keep helping people.
Thank you. I really appreciate your time and for having me on the show.
Thank you. Take care, Jared.
Have a wonderful day.